Welcome, everyone, to the deep dive. Today, we're jumping into, well, a pretty big topic, the metaverse.
Uh-huh.
Many of us have heard the term, maybe thinking games or, sci-fi movies, but its real reach, its potential impact, it seems to go way, way beyond just entertainment.
It really does. And that's our mission today, isn't it? To kind of cut through the hype, look at the stack of sources you've shared, and really deconstruct what the metaverse actually is.
Right.
We want to explore its real-world impacts, look seriously at the challenges, and maybe even speculate a bit on where this whole thing is heading. We've got everything from deep technical dives to privacy reports in our source stack.
Okay, so the metaverse. It's a term that Neil Stephenson coined way back in '92 in Snow Crash. Sci-fi stuff then. But what does it really mean now? Is it just like a fancy new name for the internet, or are we looking at something fundamentally different here?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I'd say it's definitely more than just a rebrand. Think of it as maybe the internet's next evolutionary stage. It's this idea of a persistent, collective, virtual shared space. It's where digitally enhanced physical reality, think AR, and physically persistent virtual space, think VR worlds start to converge.
Converge.
Yeah, it's not one single place, but more like a network of interconnected, real-time, 3D virtual worlds where we can all be present together synchronously. It's about taking the flat 2D web we use now and making it, well, three-dimensional immersive, leading to this kind of phygital era.
Digital, I like that. It sounds blended. What's maybe one surprising way this phygital thing might touch our daily lives that people aren't really thinking about yet?
Well, it relies on a whole stack of tech working together. You've got immersive technologies, or XR, that's the umbrella term.
Right, XR covers everything.
Exactly. VR, virtual reality, that's total immersion.
Mm-hmm.
Think headsets like the MetaQuest. Really powerful for, say, complex surgical training where you need to feel in it.
Okay, total immersion.
Then there's AR, augmented reality. That overlays digital stuff onto your real world, usually through your phone right now, like trying on virtual sneakers before you buy them.
Ah, I've seen those apps.
And then there's MR, mixed reality. Think Microsoft's HoloLens. That integrates virtual objects with your physical space so they interact. Super useful in industry for design collaboration, things like that. It's not just looking at data, it's stepping inside it.
So definitely not just games, real utility, even for things like shopping or work.
Precisely. And another huge piece is decentralization and ownership. This is where Web3 concepts come in. Blockchain is key here, that distributed ledger technology. It allows for secure, verifiable ownership and trust.
So proving you own something digital.
Exactly. And cryptocurrencies like M&A and Decentraland or Sand in the sandbox, they act as the native money within these virtual economies. And NFTs, non-fungible tokens.
Oh, yes, NFTs.
Right. They're unique digital tokens on the blockchain, proving you own a specific virtual item. Could be land, could be an avatar outfit, could be a ticket to a virtual concert. It creates real, provable scarcity online. And holding it all together, making it dynamic, is intelligence and automation. That's AI.
Okay, AI's role.
AI makes avatars and non-player characters behave more realistically, understand language. It drives personalization, tailoring the environment based on user data. And critically, generative AI can help build these vast worlds, automating content creation.
That mix of AI and blockchain sounds potent. How do they actually work together? Is it all smooth sailing, or are there, friction points?
They definitely complement each other. Blockchain can give users real control over their data via things like self-sovereign identity. So you own your digital ID, you control who sees what.
That sounds empowering.
It is. And AI, in turn, can make blockchain systems smarter. Better fraud detection, intelligent smart contracts. It's a potentially powerful loop, but there's a big tension. The Web3 dream is this open, interoperable metaverse, but the company's actually building a lot of it right now. Meta, Microsoft, probably Apple soon.
The tech giants.
Yeah, and their whole history is based on creating closed ecosystems, walled gardens, right? Meta controls something like 35% of the VR hardware market already. That's a strategic position. So it's not just technical, it's an ideological battle, really. Open versus closed.
That's a really key point.
Yeah.
Okay, let's pivot then. If it's more than games, how is this metaverse thing already starting to change how we socialize, how we present ourselves online?
It's changing connection in a pretty profound way. Your avatar, for instance, it's not just a static picture, it's this dynamic 3D representation you can customize endlessly.
So expressing yourself differently.
Totally. You can experiment with identity. And crucially, you get embodied communication. Gestures, facial expressions, body language. It makes virtual interactions feel Much richer, more nuanced than just text or even video chat.
More like being there.
Kinda, yeah. Platforms like VR Chat, Rec Room, even the older Second Life, they've shown how powerful user-created worlds and virtual economies can be. And newer ones like Meta Horizon Worlds, Decentraland, the sandbox they're pushing into virtual real estate, creator tools.
And the events. I remember seeing the numbers for those Travis Scott and Ariana Grande concerts in Fortnite. Millions of people watching a virtual performance. Is that really the future of concerts?
The scale is just staggering, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's not just watching, it's that feeling of synchronous shared experience, being there with millions of others, even if you're physically apart. We're seeing virtual watch parties, professional meetups, support groups, all sorts of niche communities forming.
It's a whole new way to gather. Okay, so social life is changing, but what about our jobs, our money? How is this digital frontier starting to reshape the economy?
Oh, it's not just a new sales channel. It's potentially changing how value is fundamentally created and exchanged. Think about the core drivers. Really immersive ways to engage customers, letting users innovate and create content at massive scale.
User-generated value.
Exactly. Plus, efficiency gains for businesses through virtual training or collaboration, the ability to create digital scarcity with NFTs, and new ways for ecosystems to collaborate.
Yeah.
This is laying the groundwork for a whole new economy. And we're seeing new business models emerge already. Virtual real estate, for example, buying land in places like Decentraland. That market's projected to hit over $5 billion by 2026. People lease it, host events, put up advertising.
Wow, virtual landlords.
Pretty much. Then there's digital fashion and avatars. Huge market. Gucci had a virtual garden on Roblox that drew 20 million visitors. Adidas, Nike, they're using NFTs for exclusive digital clothing or access.
Yeah.
NFTs can even authenticate physical goods, fight counterfeits, and digital-only fashion, potentially much more sustainable.
So my virtual sneakers won't wear out. And what about things like conferences or big meetings?
Yeah, virtual events are definitely a thing. Not just concerts, but corporate conferences too. Companies like Google and Accenture have used platforms like Virtway and praised the intense feeling of closeness you can get. And it's shifting beyond just owning digital stuff. NFTs are becoming like digital keys.
Keys.
Yeah, keys that grant access. Maybe your concert ticket NFT becomes a collectible that also gets you into an exclusive fan community later on. It's about access and experience, not just ownership. And how does the buying and selling actually happen? Well, you've got platform-native marketplaces built right into worlds like Decentraland, but also third-party NFT marketplaces like OpenSea. And these places aren't just shops, they're social hubs.
Right, community spots.
And this fuels the creator economy. NFTs and smart contracts mean creators can monetize their work directly, even get automatic royalties on resales. Tools like Roblox Studio or the Sandbox's Game Maker are making it easier for anyone to jump in and build.
Okay, this is starting to sound less sci-fi and more like, well, real shifts in work and commerce. Where else is it making inroads? How's it transforming things like our jobs, education, maybe even healthcare?
The impact there can be really significant. We're moving beyond just work from home to potentially work from Metaverse or WFM. Think immersive virtual offices, Microsoft Mesh in Teams, Meta Horizon workrooms.
So virtual meetings, but better.
Potentially, yes. Better for collaboration on 3D designs, virtual whiteboarding, meetings where avatars convey more emotion and presence, and corporate training. Huge potential.
Yeah.
A PwC study found VR training was actually 4 times faster and left employees feeling 275% more confident.
4 times faster. That's impressive.
It is. Plus, digital twins, virtual copies of real-world machines or factories, allow for realistic, safe training and process optimization. And in healthcare,
Yeah.
wow, medical education, surgical training using platforms like VR lets doctors practice complex procedures without risk. It's being used therapeutically, too, for pain management at Cedars-Sinai, mental health support via MindMaze.
Using VR for therapy.
Absolutely. And patient education, like showing someone a 3D model of their upcoming surgery to reduce anxiety. We're even seeing remote care expand, virtual hospitals popping up in places like the UAE, and potential for decentralized clinical trials. Education, too, is getting reimagined. Forget static textbooks. Think immersive field trips with Engage VR, conducting virtual science experiments in Mozilla hubs, exploring 3D models. Curtin University uses VR for physiotherapy students. They practice real-world skills safely, and the university saves costs while boosting engagement. It really points towards more active experiential learning.
The potential across all these areas, work, health, learning, it really does sound incredible. But, and there's always a but, isn't there? This must raise some serious questions. What are the downsides, the challenges we need to grapple with?
Oh, absolutely. Despite all the promise, there are some major hurdles and frankly some pretty thorny ethical issues. First off, the hardware hurdle. VR and AR headsets, still pretty expensive for most people. They can be bulky, uncomfortable, cause motion sickness. That limits who can actually participate right now, creates a digital divide from the get-go.
Right, access is a big one.
Then there's the content conundrum. Beyond game, is there enough compelling stuff to do in the metaverse yet? Creating high-quality 3D content is hard and expensive. It's a bit of a chicken-egg situation. And maybe the trickiest technical one, interoperability, or the lack thereof. The dream is this single connected metaverse, right? But reality right now is mostly those walled gardens we talked about. Your avatar, your stuff, it's stuck on one platform. There are no universal standards.
So you can't take your cool avatar from one world to another.
Not easily, no. And these three things, hardware, content, interoperability, they're interconnected. It's like a trilemma. Progress on one often depends on progress on the others. And then beyond the tech, there's the ethical and regulatory gauntlet. This is huge.
Wow.
Data privacy and security, paramount. These headsets, these systems, they capture incredibly sensitive biometric data. Eye movements, facial expressions, voice patterns, even your gestures.
Wow, that's a lot of data.
It's intensely personal data. Creates incredibly detailed user profiles, great for targeted ads, maybe, but a massive target for misuse, for theft. We've already seen things like Meta allegedly using loopholes to track browsing habits. Users absolutely need the right to delete their data, something some places like the EU are pushing for.
It strikes me there's a real paradox here. The very things that make the metaverse feel so real and engaging, the immersion, the presence, the expressive avatars, seem like the exact same things that can make negative experiences, like harassment, feel much worse, much more psychologically damaging.
You've hit the nail on the head. That immersion amplifies everything, the good and the bad, which leads directly into the challenge of governance and moderation. How do you deal with harmful content harassment, hate speech, misinformation when it feels so visceral? Anonymity makes accountability hard, and enforcing rules across decentralized platforms is incredibly complex.
Yeah, who's the sheriff in a decentralized town?
Exactly. And finally, inclusivity and the digital divide. We mentioned hardware costs, internet access, these risk-widening existing socioeconomic gaps, plus the potential for algorithmic bias creeping in, perpetuating stereotypes, and the worry about social isolation, people getting too immersed and disconnecting from their physical communities.
So quite a minefield to navigate. Given all that, what does the path forward look like? Is it really all about VR headsets taking over, or is there another way this might play out for mass adoption?
Well, there's a compelling argument put forward by Oliver Kern, among others, that for the metaverse to truly reach the masses, it has to be mobile first.
Mobile first, like on our phones.
Exactly. Look at the numbers. Nearly 4 billion active smartphones globally. Mobile dominates web traffic, especially for younger generations like Gen Z. Platforms like Avakin Life that gets over 3 million downloads a month, or Zapido in Asia, they already offer immersive social experiences on phones.
Huh, I haven't heard as much about those.
They're huge globally. The argument is that VR headsets, for now, lack that essential killer application for most people. They might remain more of a niche technology unless there's a major breakthrough in cost or comfort or utility. And that ideological battle we mentioned, open versus walled gardens, that's still playing out.
Yeah.
Will it be one interconnected network following Web3 principles, or just a bunch of separate corporate metaverses? Regulation is going to be a huge factor here. Think things like the EU's Digital Markets Act trying to force more openness.
So government stepping in to try and ensure it doesn't just become fragmented?
That's the hope, or at least one potential outcome. And alongside that, we desperately need an evolution of laws and digital rights. We need proactive governance. Things like privacy by design built in from the start, strong encryption, maybe those decentralized identity solutions gaining traction. It means adapting old laws like GDPR, but also creating new specific rules for this new space.
And it can't just be regulators, right?
No way. It needs collaboration. Tech companies, standards, bodies, governments, and crucially the user community all need a seat at the table. We see groups like the EFF already raising red flags about new laws potentially harming speech or privacy online. Constant vigilance is needed.
So we've taken quite the deep dive today, peeling back the layers on the metaverse, moving beyond the gaming hype to see this potential canvas for creativity, for new ways to collaborate, new ways to connect. But clearly it's a frontier we need to approach with both excitement and a healthy dose of caution.
Absolutely. The potential to reshape how we live, work, learn, and interact is immense. It could genuinely blend our physical and digital lives in ways we're only starting to imagine. But the choices we're making right now about how it's built, how it's governed, those choices will have profound consequences for our digital future.
And speaking of how it might impact your future, we've got a question for you, our listeners. After hearing all this, the good and the bad, would you attend something significant like a wedding or maybe even a job interview in the metaverse?
Interesting question.
Think about it, the convenience, maybe the novelty, but also the impersonality, the data concerns, the accessibility issues we discussed. Why or why not? We'd love to know what you think. A huge thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. Until next time, stay curious.